Hello, hello, soul citizens. How are we? So I'm Gigi. Y'all should know me by now. But if you don't, I'm the Green-Eyed Gal. I'm drop in here every once in a while and we talk about Star Citizen. We've got the lovely Griff to, I don't know which side you're on, Griff. But Griff is right here.
I'm on one side.
He's
like that.
There, right. And then we got Younique to his other side.
07, everybody.
0707. Today we're going to talk about 07.
Yep, you heard it.
Yep, I heard it. I'm like, nah, no. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about water and its, usefulness in Star Citizen, what it is now, what it will become later, and how it will help us and hinder us in the game. So let's get into it.
You didn't give me any credit for my innovative title, A River Runs Through It. You were supposed to comment about how ingenious that was, and you just skipped all over it and just talked about water. I can't believe you didn't.
From stealing movie titles.
Well, I'm trying. Thanks a lot, Younique. Thanks, Younique.
I feel like we just started the show, and I don't want to roll my eyes yet.
And then Younique go bust me out and tell, listen, these millennials don't know that was from a movie. Don't be giving away my stuff. Man.
Okay.
Who was in that movie? Jodie Foster, was it?
I forget. That was an oldie, man. Was it Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
It was a while back. I forget now. Yeah,
was it him or was it Mel Gibson?
It might have been Mel Gibson. Yeah. It's been a while.
That sounds like some Mel Gibson nonsense.
Yeah.
Kimmy. Yes, you are right, Kimmy.
Yeah.
Nonsense. Wow.
Crazy. What's going on, Lucky? Good to see Lucky's out there. And Go Map too. Yeah, they're both back. They were both around for our Friday show, and they're back already. Well, okie dokie.
Sorry, I had to play with something.
That's okay.
Okay, y'all. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about what does the addition of rivers and water mean for Star Citizen. So, I don't know. For me, I like the idea of everything that is possible. I like the idea of farming, because I don't really want to go kill stuff as far as people are concerned. But being able to farm and hydroponic, things like that sound awesome.
That's okay. I switched the screen back. That's okay.
I was like, what? Okay.
He's pushing that title.
I know. It's okay.
He's so determined that we say something about this title, and I'm no.
No. I wasn't that. You were fine.
Ignore it.
Yeah, you're fine. I had something else up before. You probably didn't see it. It's okay.
Well, anyway, hi everyone. Lucky, Kemi, Go Map, and Ops. How you doing?
Hey, Ops Chief is here. Cool.
Ops Chief is here. So, to you guys, what are you guys looking for with water in Star Citizen? Griff,
ice. I like ice because I like to drink. What else is water good for?
I'm kind of funny about the thing with water because, there's been this evolution of how CIG has been moving from one thing to another. And I think in the beginning for a lot of players, I remember when they first talked about planets and moons, it was kind of real esoteric thought. And then when they started putting a lot of emphasis on it, there were people who were like, well, why are they putting so much emphasis on planets and moons and stuff? this is a space game. People kind of had this focus that everything was going to be about, being in a spaceship somewhere. And then when they started coming up with the military vehicles like the tank and stuff like that and cars, people were like, well, now this sounds like it's all going to be about being on a planet and not out in space. And now they've taken it to this next level where we saw the water getting added, the oceans and stuff. And I always say this on the show. I don't want to say this is a motto of our show, but I know I always say that it seems like Chris Roberts, when he puts something in the game of significance, that means it's going to mean something later down the road. It's just not cosmetic. So to Younique's point, we've been seeing the ice aspect like on Microtech and stuff. But when you think about a biome or a full biome, you do need to have, rivers and streams and water and stuff. Absolutely. So, yeah. So that's kind of, I'm interested because they've, Yeah, they're putting emphasis in space and planets and aliens and ships and all that stuff, but there's a lot of emphasis that seems to be going into this, where you're going to be, other than in space.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, along with what you said, nothing living survives without water. Mm-hmm. So it's going to have to be there in some capacity just to support the style of gameplay that they're trying to implement. Mm-hmm. But my bigger question is, like, what outstanding thing are they going to do with water? Because I'm expecting that, why do we need an ocean if there's nothing that you can be done with it? If you can't fish in it, if you can't sail on it, what's mm-hmm. the point of it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And again, to your point, Chris Roberts don't put things in the game that aren't, purposeful. So I want to know, are we going to sail? You know what I mean? Spaceships? Or, like, I'm serious. Like, tell me what you're going to do and what's the point behind these large bodies of water and rivers beyond feeding, the natural biome and whatnot. It has to be for something other than that.
I can answer that question with a video. Do you want to see it?
Let's look at it.
All right, here's the video. You ready?
No powdered sugar fish rings, Kimmy. No.
All right, I'm going to answer this with a video. I put this video together specific for this question.
Just fish tanks.
That's what water is going to be for.
Yeah. I have some of those. I have all the fish too.
That's it. Outstanding, sir.
Now,
evidently they all died because there's nothing in the tanks anymore.
Now, I will say that back in the day, that was a popular flair because there were some people who actually got those tanks for free in the early days. But I remember when I bought mine, and Gigi, by the way, this is before your time, you had to also buy the fish individually.
Yep.
So it wasn't like you got the tank and it was a whole deal. You just got an empty tank, right? Younique. And then after that, you had to buy the crab and the fish and all that stuff. I think it's like about 6 or 7 different ones that you buy.
It came with the water, though.
Free water.
Well, Fast Card said if you got 5 referrals, then you got the fish tank for free, which was one of those perks if you did that. Yeah. I mean, that was kind of like even with that, I thought about it just being something cosmetic. I never thought about water in this game having any type of real, impact to gameplay or something. I just thought it would be like in a hangar flare, like the fish tank or something like that. And I mean, we've seen it there's some other ships that have the fish tank. I think the Phoenix has the fish tank, and I think there's one in the Carrack, if I'm not mistaken. You guys, doesn't the Carrack have a fish tank? Chat, do you all remember? But I think there's fish. I think there's like one of the walls in one of those bedrooms is a fish tank.
I thought that was a Constellation.
That's what I mean. The Constellation Phoenix has one. Whoa, Kita, thank you for the follow. Thank you. Yeah, but I thought there was another ship that had a fish tank in it, but that was as far as I saw it going. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think the water is important for realism, right?
Yes.
But now that it's there, and you can certainly flesh out things like finding a planet, it's got water. What does that mean? That means if there's anything that is alive on the planet, it's going to visit to drink. So that kind of offers a possibility of getting out there and being able to sustain yourself on a far out wilderness based planet, right? You find a decent biome for yourself.
Yeah.
So how do you survive? How do you get food? Because even in your spaceship, you can only bring so much stuff with you.
Right.
So if you're going to stay a long time, you've got to figure out how to live off the land. And since you need water, you need to be able to find it and collect it and purify it and drink it. Because no matter what you do, even if it's a game, especially when you're leaning towards realism, the heaviest thing that you can drag up into space is water.
Yeah.
right? So it costs a lot of money. So not being able to find it versus just carrying 300 million gallons of it with you
It's funny
is top notch.
I was thinking something Gigi said earlier, that water is a sign of life, which to your point, Younique, that's something else too. If you are exploring, maybe one of those first things that happens when you're coming up on a planet or moon or whatever, if you happen to see, bodies of water, maybe that tells you that there's a possibility of some form of life there, where, you go someplace that's barren, you kind of already know kind of what the deal is when you go there, It will be interesting to see. And I guess water also dictates gravity. Is that right? Is that another factor, right? If there's water, there's got to be gravity. Come on, you physics people.
Water's hanging on to the planet. Yeah,
right.
That's what I mean.
If it's hanging on to the planet and it's right, and if a body of water, then there is gravity.
Okay, right. Not clouds, but a body. If it's a body of water. Okay. Well,
I also like what Keita said, like the implication of mining down in ground vehicles, because I had thought about like deformation tech in excavation vehicles and creating like player-made canals and how that would work out. And you could create a dam, to power a whole small city. Get you and your friends out in a worthwhile biome, create a dam and power yourselves with it.
It's funny you say that, because they just showed us a couple weeks ago on ISC. They were showing us all of this new machinery and equipment for powering a homestead. They showed us solar panels. They showed us generators. So you're right, Gigi. That could be something down the road that we're maybe not thinking about. But when you decide to place somewhere, that might be the factor, right? If there's a moving water for turbines or something like that, that says that's the best place to put some type of homestead down, or some type of equipment or whatever. So
absolutely,
yeah, that's very, very cool. Very cool.
You would need that. I mean, the game already has dehydration and death from lack of liquid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't need to drink that much, but yeah.
You don't need to drink that much?
Not that much, but that is a pretty sight. Look at that sun.
Yeah, this reminds me of, where were we, Griff, when we ran down to the water's edge after parking somewhere quite precarious?
I remember, we went, and it was kind of weird because we were trying to get there in the daytime, and it was night, and that was what made it really bad.
We got there, and it was rough.
Yeah, I think it was on Hurston, and it was one of those locations. I think I was watching Captain Richard, and he was talking about this one particular location that once you get there, was fairly easy to get to water, and we flew there easily, but we were up on a hill and we had to navigate down to it. And then of course we were trying to be careful not to fall in, because as we know, most of the water and the water and Star Citizen is acidic. If you go in there as a player, not a good thing. It's beautiful, like Younique said. I really do like, this is a video of their latest tech of the water. They've been improving it, and I love the fact that it's becoming more and more realistic. And again, not that they're just doing this for cosmetic reasons, but obviously there's going to be something more. There are a lot of games out there that are real popular right now, MMOs. I know, Gigi, we've played Sea of Thieves, right? And being out on the water is a lot of fun in that game. There's a lot of games that I know you guys are playing Valheim right now, right? Younique. And there's a big thing with water in that game, even though there's this land aspect, there's a lot about being out on the water. And I'm
not going to mention that the waves are going the wrong way. But
I know. But well, let's look at it this way. They don't have the wind tech in on it yet, but yeah, you're right.
I was wondering why they were moving away from the shore, but
right now it's just moving around like jelly. Okay. That's about it. But
looks pretty good though.
Yeah, it does. Yes.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job with the tech on that. There was something else I was going to say though about water. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Gigi, we always talked about creatures and stuff, but we talked about them on land. We have not given consideration to what happens.
Water creatures,
creatures.
A kraken.
Okay. Because I hate the ocean and I hate creatures.
Yeah.
So water creatures are probably my biggest fear in the world. Like, this is why I don't swim in the ocean, okay? Because everything in the ocean swims better than you, and most of it is actively attempting to eat you. And I have problems with that. If they put water creatures in the ocean in this game, Chris Roberts is going to get a very angry letter from Gigi.
How dare you put realism in this game?
Yeah. Exactly. How dare you do things I don't like? He's going to get a strongly worded email.
64-bit me, thank you for the 5 gift subs. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys. By the way, we forgot to mention about the anniversary. Gigi, can we talk about that real quick? Is that okay? Is she shaking her head? Yes.
Yeah, okay. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. Guys, yeah, we really want to talk about this just for a hot second.
Gigi's been sober for 1 year now.
First of all, Gigi has not been sober for a year. Do not tell people that lie. Okay.
Yeah, guys, we have to stop to mention the fact that on March 7th, we're going to be having our 1st year anniversary, and we're going to try and have all the Soul team on, and we're going to spend that day kind of talking about the past year, the year to come, and anything else that you guys want to talk to us about. We're going to be doing that in 2 weeks, and we are currently, wow, Meta Hatter, thank you for 1,000 bits.
Wow, thank you, Meta.
64-bit and Meta Hatter hitting us up good. Wow, thank you so much, guys. If you can't see this right now, maybe you can on your screen. We're at 799 followers, and we're doing a big push over the next 2 weeks to reach 1,000 followers. If we reach 1,000 followers by March 7th or on March 7th, we're going to give away something like either a Banu Merchantman or a Endeavor base, not the master set, Endeavor base, or some other comparable ship. If we don't reach that, we are going to still do some giveaways that day, but we really want to do something really special if we can get to 1,000. So even though we're going to be getting numbers over the next week or two, on that day, we're going to be asking you to invite people to watch us and see if we can get to that 1,000 mark. So yes. Again, 2 weeks from now, March the 7th. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys here. All right, that's the end of my PSA for that. I'll go back now to our thing now.
Yeah. Just a PSA, you guys, because we're trying to get there. It's a year coming up on our anniversary. We're really excited. And we would like to give away something as cool as an Endeavor or a Banu Merchantman, because you guys make this all possible. Like, you guys donate 1,000 bits and streams for us to be able to do this kind of stuff. And we really, we enjoy you guys, and we love doing the show with you guys. Yep. And we just hope that we'll get there with you.
Yep. We turn all the money right back around to you guys. So
we sure do.
Yep. It goes back to the community. 60, was it Meta Hatter? Was it Meta Hatter? No, it's Kita. Kita said, what about a Crucible? You know what, Kita? If we've got one, if somebody has one in their melt, and they're willing to do it, yeah, I have no problem with a Crucible. We can, we want to find something that's kind of unique and different, for players to be able to say, hey, that's a really decent ship to get for a giveaway. Yeah. So yeah, who knows? We'll see what happens. We're keeping the options open, but it will be something along those lines, just so you know. But that's assuming we hit 1,000 followers. So yeah, I know we were talking about earlier what happens when you go into the water. So here's the demonstration for those of you who don't know. What happens when you proceed to swim, even if you have a suit on in this game, it is usually fatal. You don't usually last very long if you try to do that in this game.
Okay, so I've never gotten in the water. I Star Citizen. Only once I got in a hot tub on the 890, but I was fine. I didn't die. I was great. I've never gotten in natural water in this game. So I've never seen how fast you die if you do.
Yeah.
Like, that was like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Try not to go above your waist. I think you can go up to knee height, maybe thigh height. Then after that, if the waves hit you, you're gone. So it's a done deal at that point.
Griff will never put his 890 on the line. Go, man. You are fighting a losing battle there, buddy.
Now, one of the things, Gigi, that is in this video too, or is a part of the video that I know when we went looking before, and people have talked about this, is trying to find vegetation.
Yes.
The only... Go ahead.
I was going to say, our friend Colossal is always very, very excited about the consumables and the vegetation on these planets, and when he can get to it, he will get in and scour planets for hours just looking to find something that he can pick a piece of fruit off of, or he's like so excited about it. And this makes me want to be able to farm, like want to be able to grow this type of thing, and want to be able to take my, my harvest and to be sold. That would be extremely cool.
I know.
Which, I mean, you need water for. Yeah, I mean, I'm a farm girl, y'all. I don't know what you want from me. I'm literally from a farm. When I see stuff like this, I'm like, ooh, I want to grow it.
Younique, I don't know. Are you into the whole agriculture thing, or is that like?
Yeah, I am. I've got the Explorer ship with 2 farms ready to go on it. That's
nice.
Like my final ship to get. Or I got it, but I melted it down. I'll be pulling it back out.
What ship?
The Endeavor.
Very nice.
Yeah. So that farming aspect on that ship, as well as its flexibility, intrigued me a lot. So,
yeah.
Looking forward to it.
It is the most modular ship in the game. So it's going to be a very helpful tool. And I will spend all my time on one of you guys' endeavors.
Yeah.
And they have on here, that one is the one with Patumba fruit. You actually can get that fruit when you're in those different stores, those greenery stores, like at New Babbage. But I have yet to see it. Now, there were a lot of people who said that for a period of time, vegetation was in the game, and then they said they pulled it. I have never come across it to this day. This video is not mine. This was a video that I found that someone just to show what the Patumba fruit looks like. But what is weird about this is that, and I shouldn't say weird, but because the game doesn't have weather right now, like there's no rain. And if you notice, this is not near any body of water. So you have to kind of wonder, whether it would really grow. Yeah. But that's just also making some big assumptions that, it's based upon water and chlorophyll and H2O and all that other good stuff. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to show that because they were thinking about vegetation in the game. And, whether it's because we can pick it and eat it, or like you said, Gigi, whether it can become a point where we're doing crops and harvesting. I know when we've played several of our survival games, that's something that eventually we get into doing is growing tons and tons of food.
As much food as you can.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you're playing survival games, and it is a necessity to eat or you will die.
Yeah. Yeah. But
you have no choice.
I'm curious to see how they plug it into economy. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I mean, we talked about this before about games like Star Wars Galaxies, where people never left a planet. They stayed, like if they made clothing, that's all they did. If people are gardening, there were people who had mines and all they did was just mine. I'm curious about whether or not people will set up their little homestead and just grow stuff, and sell it.
Probably. Like I had the idea that I would do something along the lines of actually farming water itself to break down the particles and then sell the hydrogen for fuel back to the stores.
Yep.
I mean, now that definitely depends on if that's something that they put in the game, but it is something I would love to do if I had the opportunity.
But you know what? You mentioned a good point. They talked about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Younique, the Starfarer, even though people have looked at it for doing like hydrogen gas cloud mining, they also talked about using it to do just what you said, that you could transport water. Maybe there's a moon or a colony or something that needs water, right? That's what they need. Maybe you're able to go to places and harvest. It'd be kind of cool if they had like places with fresh springs, right? Where you could just kind of get the water from there and do it. But you're right. I didn't think about the fact that that's another means or way that people can, in the economy, for water to be used. That's a very, very cool idea. Very interesting.
I would expect it would be a high price commodity pretty much as you
absolutely
expand it further into space,
When you get to these planets that are almost barren, like Griff was saying, or these moons that have probably no water source, and people are trying to homestead there because, as people are wont to do, they're going to homestead in places that the weather does not make any exceptions for them.
No.
And then they're going to need people like us to make sure they get what they need. There are islands in our real world that are 100% dependent on the shipping trade. Should the shipping trade go down, they will die off. The whole island will shut down. It'll be the same the same idea where if there's not someone there to make sure they're getting what they need, they will die off, or they will have to leave, and then it will become a barren planet again. So I'm wondering, like, are these the types of things that they will put in the game? Is that a trade route that could, you know what I mean? Could that be something implemented in this type of game?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if there's something out there that's worth having, I don't know.
Yeah.
Commodity is, it's a mine or something, and it's very valuable, then there's going to become a whole shipping lane to keep the miners alive to be able to mine that planet for a long period of time. So they're going to have stuff shipped in. So and
then there's just the plain old fact that water is so heavy.
Yeah, that's what somebody was mentioning.
Like, water is so heavy, so getting it from one place to the other will be a challenge in and of itself.
Yeah.
So that alone would make it a high price commodity.
Kim, you mentioned here, for those of us who played Eve, he mentions about ice asteroids. And in Eve, ice mining was a big thing. People ice mine just as much as they mined for minerals. And again, that brings another source of water into the game. I've never heard them mention ice mining in this game yet, but I could tell you I spent a lot of time ice mining in Eve. So as you mentioned, water itself is a great commodity to be sold, be sold and trade. It's one thing to take it in and trade it, which was all you could do in Eve. But it's another thing to, like you said, be able to incorporate it into the gameplay where I have to take it to a location. Maybe there's a colony that needs it, or a farm. Maybe we're supplying, maybe even for orgs who decide to set up on a barren location as their base.
Now they need to have water tanks brought in. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. A lot of stuff that can come out of that. I kind of put this video up because Younique mentioned about the Endeavor. But we've also seen these at some of those bases on the moons, those hydroponic places. And I'm curious to see if that's going to be, I'm not going to say it isn't, obviously it's going to be part of gameplay. I'm just curious as to in what way will these places become a part of our gameplay in the future, whether it'll be that we can actually utilize these places or whether it'll just be a matter of going there to do some form of trade. I really like the design on this, and I really like to see if we're able to, when we build our own homesteads, can we like buy this equipment, you know what I mean, and install it so that if I want to be what's the word when you growing green stuff?
Hydroponic.
If I want to do my own hydroponics,
See, I don't know if this device is a hydroponic thing. Obviously it's growing the plants, but I'm not sure if that's like large enough to sustain anybody. It might be like a research kind of thing.
Research. Yeah, it is. That facility is a research. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, you're just seeing, can it grow in this soil or whatever? It probably isn't big enough to actually sustain the crew.
Some of those bases, when you come outside the door, they've got those in-ground hydroponics things, and those are the ones I think, like you said, are more for harvesting because they're catching sun. But like you said, this is more for research or maybe doing hybrid stuff or, like you said, anything like that. Because I know that's what the Endeavor is supposed to be able to allow you to do. You go certain places and can grow certain things under certain conditions. But I would love to be able to buy it.
Right. This reminds me more of like, I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, The Martian.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. Growing the potatoes, you know what I mean? And he was having to start over and try again and see what would grow on the soil and how he could get it to grow. Like, that's what I see when I see this. I see research, I see trial and error, I see, can we make this grow here? And then, okay, now that we know we can, we'll go outside with that and then we'll use our research again and see what's the next thing that we could get to work in this soil.
I see two excellent answers to what that is. MG1206 says it could be genetically engineered plants so that they'll grow quicker.
Very nice.
Or we can go with Meta Hatter's answer. It's a salad spinner. Either one of those. Okay.
I like salad spinner.
I think both of those are good answers to what that is. Okay, let's hop on a little bit here, see what our next thing is. Oh, I think there's audio for this, Gigi. I think.
Oh, okay.
So by borrowing a slightly more lush preset from a different planet, we can see that we can create this really effective look around the rivers with far more trees and ground cover, just to really sell the idea that this is a river that has been here for thousands of years and is flowing through the hills of Microtech. So now that we've added in this ecosystem around the river, it really sells and looks like a river flowing through the hills of Microtech. This looks much more like something that's been here for thousands of years, instead of just a bit of water that is trickling down some hills. This is a working prototype, not a finished product, and these are all engineer art choices rather than artist art choices. I can imagine someone screaming at me for the fact that we've got some beautiful kind of tropical trees here versus some snowy pines in the backdrop. But the fact that we can modify the ecosystem around these rivers means that we're going to be able to create some really convincing looking ecosystems.
Pretty stuff.
It is good looking. It's not bad.
Mezocast is rating us with a party of 50. Thank you,
Wow.
Mezocast. Wow,
Thanks,
you.
Mezo. Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I know when I see those rivers, I think a lot about, will it operate the way water usually does? Like, are the riverbanks going to be consistently changing? Are the shorelines going to be, consistently different? Water, nothing is ever the same around water. Mm-hmm. So if you go somewhere and you come back 3 months later, you're going to find an entirely different landscape than you did before, because water is the most powerful element. So I'm wondering, are these things going to stay stagnant, or is there some way to implement, the ever-changing life that is water into Star Citizen?
They probably can do it.
Yeah. Sin Omega, thank you for the follow. Yep, sorry about that. Sin Omega, thank you for the follow. Thank you guys so much. Thank you all for joining us. Once again, Mazo, thanks for the host or sending folks over. Guys, we're just talking about water today, and we're also just having some fun talking about the whole idea of what water can be. There's going to be a little bit of theory crafting coming up in a little bit too. So just so you guys will know, that's kind of why you're seeing all this stuff about water. So.
And then along the lines of what I said, Keita also mentioned, will the nearby moon affect the tide? Which that would be, or is there going to be a high tide and a low tide? Or depending on whether or not there's not a moon nearby enough, will there be no gravitational pull, no tides at all? How is this going to work?
Mm-hmm. I thought that for this video, when they showed it a few weeks ago on ISC, that even though this was like the first iteration of it that we saw, I thought it was pretty cool. The guy said he's a graphic artist. He's not, he's the tech guy, the engineer. He says, I'm not the guy to lay this out to make it look, he says, but just to show you the tech. And even that was like, wow, this is really, really cool. So I was thinking about Younique when he was talking about like planets like Microtech, where you've got those ice areas, and we start to see that melting and stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. I never expected to see streams, bodies of water. Yeah, I got that. But I never thought that they would get into doing these rivers and all these other things. That's kind of a whole new thing. That I love it, though. I love it a lot.
Kimmy brought something up in chat that I had not thought about, which I'm a little ashamed of because I'm from Louisiana. But will there be like large acts of God style water? You know what I mean? Like, will there be hurricanes and tsunamis and water spouts and rogue waves and all these kinds of things that really could affect, like, did you build too close to the shoreline? Because if you did, oops for you. You know what I mean? Like, will that kind of thing be implemented? Because that would be really cool. The idea that you would have to consider, where you settled, because if you're on Microtech, the river's going to freeze over. Consider where you're settling, because once that river freezes, thaws, the ice will mow down whatever you have, and so will the overflow. Like, will you have to consider these types of things as a homesteader?
I think that the answer to that is only because I remember, was it 4 years ago when they showed us the CitizenCon where they showed us the big sandstorm that blew through. And they talked about the fact that weather will be impacting, like you said, ground things and whatnot. And I know they've talked about wind affecting the current bodies of water that are in the game now. So I would definitely think if you're on a planet or, you know, some a moon or whatever that has, you know, high velocity winds. I mean, some of the moons we go on now, we hear the winds whistling like crazy.
Yes.
I would assume that the water is going to have to match that. It would look kind of crazy to hear all this swirling wind and then the water is sitting calmly. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we started seeing that level of impact. And like you said, erosion, that would be pretty fancy if they got to the point of erosion. I don't think I've seen any game do anything with erosion, but it would be interesting to see if, you know, rivers do change over time or something along those lines. I'd be interested to see that. I just,
as someone who's for the majority of my young life lived near water and watched the way that water changes the terrain, it's a functional thing, you know what I mean? And it's because the terrain needs it.
Right.
If it doesn't happen that way, then the whole ecosystem falls apart. So with their almost psychotic desire for realism with this game, I'm wondering, is that something that they're thinking about?
I wouldn't put it past them.
Probably not. You know, there is a line, even with Chris Roberts. It's a game. You got to draw the line somewhere. So, I mean, I think water's enough to sustain, like I said, help sustain the ecosystem where life comes, and you're drinking the water as a human. You're hunting for game and you can find it by the water because it has to drink, that kind of stuff. Possibly fishing, you know, things like that. But I don't think they're going to put erosion in. I think they can put in the interaction between the high velocity weather storms and stuff, because they've already got that technology. They can tie it into where the big bodies of water can cause big problems, you know, as long as it's not too frequent.
GoMap asks a good question here. He says, big question, will water play a significant role in his character's progression, such as his power or standing? If I master the water-based gameplay, will there be a significant reward, or is it just cool to see? And I still say, you know, GoMap, I think it's a good question, because I think we said earlier that we think that whenever Chris puts something in the game, it does have some significance beyond cosmetics. And but I would also say that everyone comes to the game with different things, right? There are some people who, you can talk to me about FPS all you want, but I don't care about FPS, so it has no significance on my gameplay. You know, my gameplay is that I want to be doing, I don't know, I want to be in the hospital and help medical people and cure people and do the DNA testing and stuff. So you can talk to me about FPS all you want. It's not in my mind. I'm not going to be going to any bunkers. I'm not slinging any guns. I don't care. So I think that as long as the game has whatever is incorporated into the game, as long as it has some game mechanic that lends itself to the overall aspect of the game, because I also don't want it to be something that's so isolated. Let me use an example of like me working in the hospital. Me working in the hospital helps me help players who may be regular civilians in the game, whether they're citizens in the game, whether they are smugglers in the game, whatever, that I'm perpetuating their gameplay. It's still connected, even though I may stay in the hospital. So I think that whatever the water gameplay is, if it's, for example, as we said earlier, maybe that's what's fueling or taking care of the needs of an org and their base, and that base happens to have the fact that they're growing stuff there because they want to have their own food. They don't want to pay for it. Maybe they're using that water to sell it. As long as it's got a connection to the overall economy and gameplay, then I think, yeah, absolutely. I don't want any mechanic to be such that it's so isolated that it has no impact on the game. And that was my problem with some of the aspects of Eve. There were certain things you could do in the game that just had no impact on the universe, and that just gets, you know, after a while you're just kind of grinding and it means nothing. So I think it's a good question.
Well, let's remember too that there is no leveling in the game, so that question kind of refers to that you got to level and you get something for that level. It's not. The only reward for mastering whatever it is about obtaining water and doing something with it is the fact that you can just do it more quickly in more volume. So the only reward is to either make more money or help sustain better your organization or something like that, because there's no leveling in the game. You can start mining water immediately if that's a mechanic. You don't have to become a level 1, level 2, level 3 miner or anything like that of water.
I actually like that there's no leveling in the game. It gives me the opportunity to do things at my own pace and not forcing me to try to keep up with the people around me in order to have a good time while I'm playing.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the ability to just be better at what it is that you're trying to do will also raise probably your reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing things that are water-based, you know, your reputation and that will get higher, and then you'll be more easily hired out for jobs that involve some sort of water-based gameplay.
That's where it could be. It could be your reputation, and that gets you more jobs, so that you get hired more.
Yeah, reputation, and there is a dynamic of, even though there's not leveling, there's achievement, right? There's being able to complete things, your own bragging rights to the fact that you've done certain things, or you've gone certain places where other people haven't gone in the game. So I get the whole aspect of what I'm saying. How does it help my character? You know, what are these new elements in the game? Now, again, there are going to be some aspects of the game where people, like, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've done more than, this is no joke, out of all this time I've played Star Citizen, I don't think I've ever done more than 10 bounty hunter missions, because bounty hunting has never really captured my attention at all until they came out with the jail cells in the blue. When I saw the blue, it started catching my attention at that point, right? So, you know, but is that going to be something I'm gonna find myself doing more? Probably not. I maybe I'll help other people. Maybe if Younique says, hey, Griff, there's somebody I want to go after, I need 2 or 3 people because they're a really tough person, I might saddle up with him. But I'm probably have no interest in doing any bounty hunting at all, you know, so it's not something for me. I've never done a bounty
hunting mission. The likelihood that I will is really slim.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, you know,
doesn't appeal.
Right. So I'm saying, you know, for me, there's no, you know, I don't get any gratification out of doing it other than helping him out. You know what I mean? Right, exactly. I might get paid, but I'm going to go back to, you know, working in the hospital again, even though that's not what I'm doing. I'm a big miner. Mining is my thing, guys. So I'd be back mining. That would be where I'd be living. And there are other people, right, that mining, they could care less about mining. They don't want to be a prospector. Exactly. They don't want to do any mining at all. You know, they just want to go out and do some other stuff.
I like the idea of being able to be good at more than one thing, right? Because I like the idea of planting all my crops and harvesting my water. And then while that is working back at my homestead, I'm going to hop in my prospector and go do some mining, make some money, do some upgrades, fix my ships. You know what I mean? And then come back. Okay, now my crops are ready. Let's harvest. Okay, now I'm going to hop into a different ship, take them out. We're going to go sell them off. Got that water, that hydrogen ready. I should probably throw that on there, drop it off at the store on the way out. You know what I mean? Like I envision this whole gameplay where I get to do things without other people harassing me unless it is absolutely necessary. And that's all I really want.
well, GoMap kind of touched on what you just said. He said if there's water harvesting, trading, that would help with cargo, for example, cargo focused characters, that helps them make money, thereby that increases their level and standing and progression in the game as well. So agreed. You know, there are these other, again, it's connected. I might be the person with the water down there, but if I want to step into cargo, or if somebody else wants to come buy from me because that's what they want to do, or I'm hiring a player to be, because maybe I don't want to be the guy hauling these, you know, the Starfarer, but I'm going to hire you because I've got a mission and I'll split the profits with you.
Exactly.
You know, there's this constant thing. And again, reputation's a big factor in that, because I also want to make sure you can deliver. You know,
right, and that's what, you know, that's my bigger reason for mining the way that I do, is more that my reputation, I want my reputation to be high enough that people hire me, you know, as a laser operator eventually on the Orion, because I don't want to pilot an Orion. I have no desire to do that. That sounds awful, but I would love to, you know, operate one of the mining lasers, and let's just go out there. We're going to hire us a security team, and we're going to go make a couple $1,000,000 probably in about an hour, and then everybody break and back to base. That sounds lovely. That's exactly the type of thing I like to do.
Okay. Very, very cool.
Yeah, you might want to add a couple hours onto that. The Orion's not the fastest thing on the planet.
I don't mean it like that, but I'm saying the amount of time that you spend versus how much you make will be worth it.
Yeah, that's true. Gigi, there was something you said earlier that was on our list here that we were talking about. Agriculture. No, it wasn't agriculture. It was sea life. You were talking about things being in the water, and I was thinking about recreation for people who want to, like we were talking about how popular fishing is in a lot of games.
Yes.
There are literally people who just stop to go fish, right? They ain't doing no missions or anything else, but they just want to do fishing, and fishing is really popular in a lot of games. I was also thinking about, because Kimmy said this earlier, what happens, will they start giving us suits that allow us to go into the water? He mentioned about even underwater mining, for resources and minerals, right? Yeah. If that becomes a factor. And I know we'll talk about ships later, but
so I know submersibles are on the roadmap. And who is he? Kita said that it is already a fact that there will be underwater gameplay in the game. So there's gonna have to be something other than swimming. Do you know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
They can't spend all that time and effort to get us underwater and then be like, okay, go swim, have fun.
Right.
There has to be something down there. And even if it's for the crazier people who want to go hunt down the Kraken and kill it,
right,
let them do that, or the less crazy people who would just like to mine things under there, because there's plenty of minables underwater. Let them do that. I can't imagine that there will be underwater gameplay without actual gameplay.
Water without underwater gameplay.
Right. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't.
I'd like to see spearfishing.
Spearfishing, do some spearfishing.
Well, we've got weapons and stuff already, handheld weapons.
That's what the crossbow. That's what the crossbow will be for, right?
There you go, the crossbow. Oh my goodness,
that's what the crossbow will be for. Well, I again, they've been recently working on this thing with buoyancy. That's been their big thing recently. They talked about the seaweed and stuff like that, and there's a reason why buoyancy obviously is becoming a factor, because as you guys know, there's no buoyancy in the game right now. You go underwater, you just sink. And if there's buoyancy, that must mean that they're talking about some type of vehicle in some form or something that's going to be able to float on the water. Kimmy, I see you with the giant killer clam. I got you. The giant killer clam. We'll have to watch out for that. I'm curious, Gigi, you mentioned earlier about the swimming pool, and I know we didn't get a chance to start talking about those type of items, but I am curious to see what the mechanic will be for swimming, because we don't have that yet either. And I'm sure there's going to be a need to have that. I'm just curious as to what that will be as well. I mean, other than survival, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of curious to see how that's going to be implemented. If you're diving, obviously swimming is going to be needed, even if you're underwater doing mining. I'm curious if it's going to be like that, that deep sea thing where you actually get out of your ship and do some type of on the ground, on the surface mining, or whether it will be just with a ship in some form that does the mining underwater too. That would be interesting.
For realism's sake, I can't imagine they would have you deep sea diving and then getting out to swim. You know what I mean?
If it's not deep. Yeah, I mean, I know you can't go too deep. I know.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in a significantly shallower portion of water, and you might be able to get out because there's still some light.
Like coral reef type stuff or something, where you're using the hand laser, the multi-tool, and you're able to hit some reef and break stuff off. That would be cool.
Taking some reef with you for research purposes, back to your hydroponics base, seeing what can be grown, seeing if you could maybe implement your own river system, because we were talking about, excavation vehicles and ground digging technology. Would you be able to create your own river?
That'd be interesting.
That would be very interesting. Would you be able to recreate the conditions of the ocean you were in around your own space? But I can't see deep sea getting out.
No. I don't mean deep sea. I was just saying deep sea or the type of where you can get out. That's all I meant. I didn't mean both. I didn't mean definitely deep sea.
Don't forget, they also already have cave technology, so they could put underwater caves, small submersibles where you go in there and mine some things inside the cave.
Very nice. I hadn't thought
that would be kind of cool.
I would. Now that I would do that. I would risk the crazy underwater monster
jellyfish coming after me.
Right, like I would attempt it.
Gigi would do it until she found out that it was a cave with a lair of something. Then she would not do it anymore.
No, I would just never go into the lair. I would find the other caves and I would leave that one alone.
Oh, okay. Okay. Fair enough. All righty. Next video I wanted to drop in for us, Gigi, is this one is we're getting to a little bit of the theory crafting here. But this was a video that was put out a while back. I'll give you guys the name of the guy who did this video. I think it was Teller. I can't remember if it was Teller or not, but just take a quick look at this video and tell me what you think about this idea. He had a pretty interesting idea. Let's see.
Also, guys, if you're just getting here, follow us. We're trying to get to 1,000 follows before March 7th, which is our 1-year anniversary.
So, I know that was kind of out there, but I thought it was interesting that someone would come up with an idea for an underwater hangar. And I don't know if that would ever enter into the game, but GoMap says he wants one. So I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I thought it was an interesting idea.
Earlier, someone mentioned Subnautica in the chat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that I would never find out. But I think it's interesting. I don't think that they will add it to Star Citizen.
Mm-hmm. Bit of a stretch.
It's a stretch.
Yeah, it's a big stretch
for a space game.
But it reminds me of the Thunderbirds. I mean, the whole hidden hangar thing, you know, where nobody knows where you are. You know, I thought that was kind of cool, you know?
Very cool.
And I think, was it Fist to Face said, look at how the graphics have improved over the time. And that's true. This is definitely, you could see the growth in the game as far as the graphics go. But I thought it was an interesting concept. This is, of course, back when, of course, people theory craft all the time about Star Citizen, what can and cannot happen. But I know that and I'm sorry I didn't get to do the research on this, G. I know that in lore, there are locations in Star Citizen that are like resorts, certain planets, places like that are known for water activity, recreation, things of that nature, where people will fly their ships there. Some places even you have to be a certain level of reputation to even go there. And I remember Ben Lesnick even saying at one point that even the type of ship you fly may not even be in other words, you luxury people, yes, origin, yes, that you'll be able to go some places where maybe other people can't go. So it'll be interesting to see how they, you know, I know. But anyway, you know, my thing is that the fact that they're going to have these different aspects of the game and, you know, and even though when you go to those planets, those resorts, what's there other than just looking at the water go back and forth, you know, that's okay. But I'd love to know that there's more to it than that. Goss, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Alex. Goss, that's it. Thank you so much.
if they're gonna do a resort, give me like a water slide. You know, like I don't want to just go look at stuff. Like I feel like a good portion of what we do in Star Citizen is just getting our ships and go look at things. And that's fine for now while they're building out the game. But by the time this game is signed, sealed, and delivered, I want more than just the ability to go look at stuff. So if you're doing a resort, then I want a freaking water slide. Like I want something there to do other than to show up and be like, oh, wow, look at the crystal blue water. Everything's so pretty. We got to do, there has to be more than that to it.
Absolutely. Rob Deuce, thank you, Rob Deuce, for the follow. We appreciate that. Hey, we exceeded 800 followers today, guys. We're getting closer to that 1,000 mark. So thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Everybody, we love you.
Thank you guys so much for the follow. We are trying to, as Gigi said, we're trying to reach 1,000 followers by our anniversary, which is March the 7th. And you are invited to join us. And if we reach 1,000 followers, we will be giving away either a Banu Merchantman or an Endeavor base or a something like that. Something really, really nice. So tell your friends, tell your family to follow us. We appreciate it. Thank you, Stampede. Thank you for the follow as well. Thank you.
Could do a free viewing of the movie you were in, Griff.
Oh my God, what movie? Oh no, we can't do that. No.
Okay.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to show that. Thank you, Mike Zagrammar. Thank you for the follow as well. You guys are definitely helping us out. We appreciate it. Gigi, let me throw something in here, and maybe I'll throw this to Younique too, because one of the things that was on our list was about swimming in hot tubs. And when we watched the Orison video last week, they
Mad Style dropping the 5 subs, buddy.
Thank you, Mad Style.
It's just going to continue to be a thing.
I know, Mad
we
Style.
Love you. We appreciate you, Mad Style.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
We gotta hear.
I'm with Mad. I get excited about the swimming in a hot tub.
Yeah, that hot tub. I was thinking about that.
Just wants to see me in my bikini.
Hot tub.
Twice.
Thank you. It's so crazy. One more. I think one more James Brown. Is it? Is that it? Okay. Oh, there it is.
No more JBs. There we go. Wow.
There we go. All right. So thank you again, Mad Style, as always, for the subscriptions, for the gift subscriptions. The reason why I was asking about the swimming in hot tub piece, though, is that they mentioned it at Orison. They showed a location for hot tubs, and they talked about the view. And I'm wondering, for those of you, again, I hate to keep always referring to Star Wars Galaxies, but some of you will remember that in Star Wars Galaxies, when you went to places of recreation, like the cantina, that was your place to buff and get better when you got injured or hurt. And I'm wondering if we're going to see something similar to that with this water thing, because a couple of the ships have hot tubs in them, but then they're putting them in locations too. And I'm wondering whether or not, other than just, sitting in, like you said, Gigi, watching a view, but whether some healing or buff or restoration that comes along with that, which gives value to locations that do have that. Like you said, if you go to a resort,
and to the ships when you buy them,
and to the ships, absolutely. So again, and I'm glad you said that, Gigi, because I definitely think that they can add some things to these ships that will give better value beyond just the aesthetic side of them, those luxury ships in particular.
Listen, I firmly believe that if you pay that much money for something, there should be something about it that makes it better or more than other things, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a JPEG. But if you did, then you should be able to do extra things with it. Like, you get what you pay for. That has been
Or you don't.
Or you don't.
Like, why does an 890 jump not have a rock climbing wall? Like exercise and stuff. It's supposed to be luxury, but it's
why doesn't it have a workout room?
It's just because.
Now you wait. You guys,
that you really should have in a big luxury.
No. See, you guys got too much
work.
Why
isn't it the first amphibious ship out there? Why doesn't it float on water?
Well, now that you mention it, we might as well go there. Thank you very much.
Okay, Griff. No, do not.
This is made up.
This is so made up. Okay.
So, to this point, as you mentioned earlier about adding value to ships, I agree implicitly. And as you guys know, I have a thread. I'll put it in chat in a few minutes. I have a thread running talking about that they need to bring these luxury ships up to really living up to the standard of being a yacht. The value of this ship would increase dramatically if it was not only in space, but also could do what we're seeing right now. As you guys know, this is just simulated in the game right now. But not just this ship, but other ships. We know that there are going to be, as someone mentioned earlier, these amphibious ships that will be able to do this. But I think ships like the 890, which I would love to see be able to cruise above water, ships like the 600, which I think could be set up as a submersible, would be awesome. Chat, let me know what you guys think of that idea. Please feel free to drop it in.
Please nobody in chat point out that space is above the water.
So anyway, I just wanted to drop that in there because that is a factor for me. And I know we talked about, CIG has already told us that there are a lot of ships out there that they have not shown us yet. And so I'm wondering whether or not, like you said, GG, these type of ships will be some of those other ships that are on the list as water gets better, as the buoyancy factors come in. And as you mentioned, even to be able to mine underwater, that's would be amazing if we could do something like that.
It really would be.
Mm-hmm. Younique, do you own an 890?
Oh no.
What about you own a 600 though, right?
Oh no.
I thought you had the science one. You don't have the science one?
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Origin ship.
Origin hater. Okay, gotcha.
Not a hater, just there's just other ships that have functionality for being out in space, and
I got you.
Actually, this video is the truest thing that comes to mind with the 890. It should be a boat.
Okay. Fair
Not
enough.
A spaceship. It
Fair
looks
enough.
like a boat.
I mean, it's technically a yacht. It's just a space yacht.
Yep.
It's too much money to just be pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you are into luxury, I'm not here to hate or say that you shouldn't. If you are into luxury and you want to be able to just walk people around your ship and be like, look how cool this is, look how beautiful it is. But I can't see spending $1,000 on something that's not functional.
Well,
I wouldn't do that in real life.
But that's the difference. That's what people do in real life, because yachts are nothing but money eaters. There's nothing. They do nothing.
Exactly.
Right. All boats are. That is true. But I'm just saying, not like a tanker, that has some type of functionality, right? I'm saying these ships are strictly designed to say there's a certain level of prestige and people can do social, and they're social ships. That's all they are. They're a social dynamic. I mean, how often, you guys know I own one. How often do you see me break it out? You rarely see me break it out. And the only time I would break it out would be if my friends wanted to get together and hang out. You know what I mean? So that's what it serves a purpose for. Trust me, it's not for the basketball court. I can tell you that. So that is not the reason why I have it. But anyway, this is just giving some ideas of what could possibly be done with that.
I would say that the cool thing about the 890, somebody's going to rent it out to have a birthday party. Somebody's going to rent it.
That kind of thing,
Let's go do something stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's go get wasted on the ship. Because why wouldn't you? And it would probably be a good time. And if you charge per head to get on, which honestly most people in real life who have yachts do.
Yep. Oh yeah, you do.
You have to cover the cost of just how much money you put in fuel to get it out of the dock.
Yep.
To get it back home.
Exactly. I could see that happening, like renting it out to have a good time.
Like GoMap says, the 890 should be able to dock at space stations and land on water and pull up to harbors. GoMap, I would love that idea. In fact, I don't know if you noticed, but the new docking collars that they showed us when they showed us the docking episode last week, they are that shape of the side docking collars on the 890. Also for the Hammerhead. That's why those two ships are the ones that are being initially going to be doing the docking, because they already have designed it for that. So yeah, it would be very cool to see that the ship has a multi-function like that. And of course, we don't know if that will ever happen, but it would be a cool thing for owners of ships like that, as Gigi said, to add another level of value to them beyond just the fact that they fly in space.
I mean, I feel like they really do have to do something specifically for the Origin line. Like, y'all spend hundreds of dollars on each one of these. They've got to come up with something that is more than just they're pretty. You know what I mean? There has to be some kind of functionality put on these ships that make it worth the amount of money you spent on it.
And it's coming. Guaranteed. Like all the ships in the game, the mechanic will arrive at some point. We'll just have to see what it is they have in their little sneaky minds for it.
Yeah, and you got to remember, every Origin ship comes with a guarantee that it'll get you all the way to the crash site.
There we go.
Here we go. For it, Younique. I knew it was coming at some point.
Here we go.
Each and every time.
Yeah. Arid XY, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Trying to think, was there anything else I was going to ask about? We didn't talk about, well, under agriculture, Gigi, we didn't talk about, I know you're farm girl, right? I mean, we did talk about vegetation and stuff like that. What we didn't talk about was CIG has told us that they're going to implement some type of fauna. They talked about the space cow, things of that nature. You know, and I'm sure for people when they want to do their bases, like you said, they're going to want to be thinking about locating in these places where water is, right?
Always.
And how does that affect the economy when it comes down to these? I think those space cows, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat, I think the space cows were supposed to be these hybrid weird cows that produce both meat, milk, and a whole bunch of other stuff. In other words, it's like a one-stop shop. You don't have like pigs and cows and this, that, and chickens. It's like this one particular animal is multi-use when it comes down to the economy. Is it eggs too? Is it eggs too, Kimmy? Are you serious?
No, that's gross.
Are you serious?
Regular animals, please.
Oh, you've never seen the space cow? We have to show you what it looks like because it's already it's pretty freaky. It's a freaky looking thing.
Why would it be a cow? Why wouldn't it just be a chicken?
Space chicken?
What chicken gives milk? Like, what chicken are you getting milk from? Look,
you don't need milk.
No, you don't. Look, we're not going to talk about milk because I have very specific feelings about milk and dairy, and we're not going to do that in the middle of this show. But if you are making an animal that gives milk, just make a different animal that gives eggs. Like, let's not do this.
Well,
Matt's a very large thing to be toting around.
Yeah, Mad Style says herding space cows will be his career. That's what he's going to be doing. And Fast Cart says they'll make a space KFC. But I'm serious. The cow is a hybrid animal that has been designed to do multiple things, and I don't know what other ones they're going to create. It's not the only one, but I know that one is going to be for agriculture and farming.
Can you eat it after you teach it how to fly an 890?
God,
I'm just wondering.
Why do I even try? Why do I try?
Oh boy, that's good stuff.
Isn't everybody thinking that?
Cow eggs. That is
cow eggs.
That's bothering me. That is bothering me.
Why? Why can't a cow lay an egg?
No, because cows don't do that. They don't. Cows don't lay eggs. Well, snakes are snakes and cows are cows.
Ostriches are big and they lay eggs.
Ostriches are birds. Like, you're not, no.
This is a space cow, so it obviously can fly. I don't understand what you're saying.
Listen.
Kimmy says a platypus does, he says. So we're gonna do that. A
platypus does lay eggs, but a platypus is the only mammal that lays eggs. Don't start. Look, y'all are not going to do this with me today. You're not going to. Kimmy, talking to you.
So,
you cook.
Yes, I do.
Ever made up like a platypus burger?
No, I've not. I've never cooked a platypus ever in my life.
No, please don't. All right.
Why not?
It sounds like it would taste terrible, frankly. A
platypus
would probably taste really gamey and stringy. Like, that would be like trying to eat a beaver.
I don't even think if people even eat a platypus. I've never heard of anybody
I've never heard of anyone eating a platypus. That sounds
my God.
Disgusting.
All right, so let me throw a question out. Gigi, for you, how do you see water impacting your gameplay? Is there anything that you would do where you would actually have to think about water, whether it's your home, whether it's trade, cargo? What area do you see in the game for you?
Is the first thing, because I definitely have plans to pick a space and try to get off the grid as much as I can. I know it won't be maybe completely possible, but I would like to stay off the grid for, as much as is possible for me to do. Okay. Which means I'm going to have to be near water, which means I'm going to need to be able to probably work with hydroelectricity and damming and things like that, which I would love to farm. I'm definitely into agriculture, which means I'm going to need water. And like I said, I would be interested in doing cargo with water, getting it from one place to another, and breaking it down and selling the hydrogen for fuel. So a lot of the gameplay that I'm interested in actually does revolve around water and how I can get it, where I can get it to, and the different ways in which I can use it. So I'm probably going to be doing a lot with water, actually.
Okay. Younique, what about you? Do you see any aspects of your gameplay that you've thought about that water kind of crosses into a little bit?
Well, it definitely plays into when I want to produce my own homestead out there. That should allow me to go deeper into space and be much more self-sufficient. So that would be a good thing if we could harvest it out of the space clouds or off another planet, or even just moving it on from one location to another on the same planet or moon that you're on. You need to be able to move that water if you don't want to locate near the water, right?
Yeah. It's funny, you all both said something earlier that I never gave thought to, which was, and several people in chat said this about how heavy water is to move. I had never really given much thought to that it, moving it itself is no small task. What that means in the sense of, a ship like a Starfarer, in atmosphere leaving with water, what's the fuel consumption? Water sounds like a simple commodity, but the real issue is the weight of it and traveling it, especially in places where you have gravity and atmosphere. It's no small task. And I had not ever really given much thought to it. I really hadn't. But
I think NASA put a number on it from flying from the ground and Earth up into space, and it was something like $10,000 a gallon.
Wow. Yeah. I can believe it. That's crazy.
Well, water weighs like somewhere in the range of 8 to 9 pounds a gallon. So it's heavy. Yeah. It's no small task to move 10 gallons of water. You know what I mean? Like, it takes some doing. And so when you're moving whole SCU's worth of water, when you're moving a whole ship's cargo load worth of water, you're going to be having to consider how you're flying. You know what I mean? If you lean too much to one side, are you going to fall out of the sky? Probably, because the water's going to drag you down.
You can visualize how difficult it is, like water and it's sloshing around and things. Just imagine trying to pick up your bathtub full of water.
Yeah. Blackwater Goat says we can ship dehydrated water, GG. Dehydrated water.
I got powdered water.
Powdered water.
All you need is a space cow.
I tried for 3 seconds to think
to rehydrate that
water would be, and then I was like, nothing.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I think water is going to intersect for me. Something you all hit on earlier, is that mining aspect. If they do allow us to do some type of underwater mining, I'd find it as an interesting challenge. Definitely, because as you guys know, I have certain ships that I think would love to see be able to take advantage of the water, like the 890 and like the 600, and definitely for homesteading. No question about it. As much as I would love to have an apartment in R Corp, I would also love to be at some stellar location out where I have a house, and actually agriculture would be something I probably would be interested in. At first, I didn't think I would be, but once I got the endeavor, that started making me think about it a little bit more. So I would love to do something.
If you're going to go to deep space and hang out for a long period of time, you got to be self-sustaining. You got to recycle water. You got to be able to go get some, bring it in, grow your own food.
Yep. And I think most players are going to have multiple locations. I don't think anybody's going to, right now we say we're out of R Corp or we're out of Hurston, but eventually you are going to have different locations throughout the systems, so that you're not having to travel back to one location all the time, I'm sure. But it'll be interesting to see, how this evolves over time and the impact of water in the game. Fastcart says, when the swimming mechanic is implemented with Soul citizens, we'll get an assist in swimming. Still sink. We'll make sure you float, Fastcart. Don't worry about it. We'll make sure you float.
We'll get you an 890 there, Fastcart.
Yeah. Kimmy also says, I can see that the mining ships creating containers and that the A2 and the M2 would be hauling those containers from mining ores, from a mining ore. So yeah, that is another possibility too. They haven't shown us any other containers for liquid other than the Starfarer. But like you said, Kimmy, I'm sure that they'll come up with something later on that does allow us to do that. So
I wonder if at some point will you be able to use your Orion to haul water?
Well, ice mining, yeah. I mean, with ice mining,
probably be your best bet for attempting it. You know what I mean? Because the larger your ship, the more stable you are.
Yeah. Well, ice mining, if they implement ice mining, you know, asteroid ice mining, then it's automatic. I would say, yeah, you know, automatically. Yeah. I don't know why there wouldn't be, because people, you know, be able to get hydrogen. There's a whole lot of stuff that you can get out in space that's just there to be taken. So
yeah.
Be interesting to go. Okay, cool. Well, let's see.
Oh, Gomez says inflatable flight suits.
Inflatable flight suits. We put them in that. That would be pretty cool. We'll put Fast Cart in one of those so we can just float on the water. He can relax, tilt his head back, and relax and chill. All righty. Well, I think we've hit everything, G. I think that was the last of the stuff that I have here. Yeah. That is the last of the thingies that we have. So
you guys, that was our last little point for the night, and we're gonna start considering wrapping up. But first, we do want to remind you guys that 2 weeks from now, exactly 2 Sundays from now, is our 1-year anniversary. So we are hoping that if you're here today and you like what you heard and you're not already following, please just give us the follow. We are trying to get to 1,000 followers before our anniversary. And if we do so, we will be giving away either a Banu Merchantman or a base model Endeavor, or something as cool as along the lines of, if we don't, we'll still be doing some giveaways, but probably not such a big ticket item. We love you guys. We really appreciate you guys. You guys are here for us every Friday, every Sunday, like clockwork. You never fail. Y'all are in the chat talking. You guys are here on Friday night live in the, you know, talking to us and chatting with us and theory crafting with us, and we always have such a good time doing these things with you. So before we wrap it up, I'm going to throw it to Griff so he can introduce himself and tell you where you can find him.
You can find me here. This is the only place I'm ever at, right? Yeah, you guys can find us here, or find me here at Soul Citizens, and also on Friday Night Live from time to time, working with these wonderful people that I've been working with for almost a year now. Time has flown by so quickly, and our team is growing. We next week we've got another special show next week. We're doing a show on Hot Wheels. The show next week is called Hot Wheels, Not Wheels. So if you're into vehicles, that's going to be the subject next week, and we have a special guest on with us. I think Love Machine is going to be on with us. She's working with the Stanton 7, and so yeah, if you're into the whole vehicles thing, guys, you guys know that we've got the Tumbrils and all the other stuff, but you guys know the Tonk is coming out. Yeah, Kimmy, we're not talking about Matchbox, Hot Wheels, just so you'll know. We'll be on Hot Wheels. Absolutely. We're going to be on Hot Wheels next week, and Not Wheels. So, you know, it's also kind of covering those things that maybe aren't necessarily got wheels on them. So we'll be talking about that as well next week. So that's where you guys can find me around here.
And Younique, where can we find you, buddy?
Pretty much the same. I'm a periodic visitor here in Soul Citizens, and lucky enough to hang out with you and Griff and the rest of the gang. I hardly don't make the Friday nights, but I really do think about it a lot. I think I've only made one. I do need to stop by a couple of times on that as well. So there'll be more in the future, but right now, doing a lot of extra side projects and work. Trying not to freeze my butt off during the winter and get into spring. So come around spring, April, there might be some announcements.
Nice.
Yeah, well, you can't come at night, dude. That's late for you when you're doing Friday nights. That's like late for you. So
yeah,
I think you were fighting last time when we had you on. It was kind of tough. So. All right, Admiral. Yeah, Power Wheels. We're going to be talking about Power Wheels, Hot Wheels, all that stuff next week. So, yeah.
I had a Power Wheels when I was a little girl. It was pink, and I wasn't allowed to have any boys in it.
Oh, God.
I rode it everywhere.
Power Power Wheels, Big Wheel, whatever wheel you want to talk about, guys. Next week, that'll be the deal. So, other than that, that's it. Gigi, we're ready to go. We're gonna raid Disco Trend tonight.
Nice.
All right, you guys. Well, we're going to be rating Disco Trends. So follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube at Soul Citizens. It's always the same. You can find me on Twitter if you're looking for me at theGreenEyedGyal. And we will see you guys very, very soon, next Friday and next Sunday. And until then, I will tell you, as we always do, love, peace, and soul.